wetness is the essence of beauty.
You're listening to Redneck.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of AM Douchebagging. You saw my deadlifts. Deadlifts were pretty, well, actually, it wasn't really a deadlift day. It was actually a high bar squat day with accessories of the conventional deadlift, and just kind of it's fresh in my mind because I remember posting on Instagram, which probably is like a couple weeks ago if you're seeing this, because of course it's all delayed. So it's pretty much October right now, but Merry Christmas. Deadlifts were pretty good, especially with my boy John from Obese Beast, name dropping. He was Myron, my set, nice guy of course, but he really noticed that had nice little pause at the bottom, really trying to control that weight rather doing touch and go, and so that is something I've learned to also incorporate in my conventional and also my sumo, and I feel like that has tons of carryover where I have a nice bar path. I'm probably beating a dead horse by now. I mean, well, in my case, I'm Asian, so beating a dead dog for dinner. Ooh, I lost a couple subscribers, and sorry. So high bar squats are feeling pretty froggy. They're feeling pretty good. Feeling confident in them, and depth is not a problem with the high bar squats. I'm definitely hitting it nice and low, but I've noticed that for the first time in my lifting career for the past 11 years, I've noticed that my knee pain, I have knee pain on my kind of upper, like above my patella, fancy ass French word for my kneecap. So this is kind of a regular, something that doesn't really happen to me, but I think it's all due to all the quad dominant exercise, especially with front squats and high bar being in my program. So might want to scale it down next time. I'm actually probably going to take out front squats for next one, just because I've done it right 2 times in a row. I want to give it a little bit of break, even though I feel like the carryover is going pretty damn well. I'd rather have kind of that steady progress and switch out before I jack myself up and really, adapt from that stress. So, and let's talk about stress real quick. I was listening to a podcast of The Jug Life. I really like that one. They were talking about stress, and so, if you have a job, like my online client right now, he is pretty stressed out with, clinicals and everything. I know about that stressful life because, student, work, dad, stuff like that. And you just have to kind of scale it down and try to do the best you can, because if you're watching this, you have to do the best you can, because pretty much it's all the time that you have. I mean, you can pretty much cry about your time. I mean, I'm not saying that you're crying about your time, but same thing, like a lot of you YouTuber or subscribers, perverts, if you will, you guys ask me, like, how can you keep doing it? How come, you continue to go to school and go to work and still train and do all this YouTube stuff and still train clients? It's pretty much what you have to do. I mean, if you only have so much time and you have to prioritize things. So for me, I gave up video games. As much as I love video games, it's just not, it's not going to help out my gains, because I will lose like 5-10 pounds after playing one night of video games. So that I gave up, and pretty much you got to do what you can. Even though you may have 4 hours of sleep, I say training is better than not training at all. And it may not be optimal, but you just have to go about it with trying to make it optimal and try to do the best you can. Anyways, that's enough with AM inspiring, or trying to inspire. But anyways, let's go ahead and do some upper body. It's pretty much a nice upper body day. That's why I have my guns out, suns out. Guys, so that concludes week 6 of the GZCL Rippler program. I'm here at lunchtime. I haven't done one of these in a long time, and I'm sure you perverts are curious in what I'm eating, so I'll show you. That is pretty much If you guys are Filipino, you guys are familiar with sisig, which is pretty much like, this is actually chicken sisig. So usually it's made with pork. It's pretty much the equivalent of like chicken coluguin for you Chamorros out there, for you Mexicans out there. It's gonna be kind of the equivalent of like shrimp ceviche. So pretty damn good stuff. I believe my mommy made it. And so it's funny too, because she called me out of the blue, out of nowhere, and she said, you know, she was trying to get me some supplements, and because some place was going out of business. And it's funny because she's came a long way. Usually, you know, you have the parents that think that protein is pretty much the equivalent to steroids. So she's come a long way. Anyways, let's talk about my deadlifts. Deadlift sumo was pretty hard today. Gravity was not 9.8 meters per second today. I believe it was a little bit stronger because it was a little rough because, I mean, I felt like I was pulling like 1 rep maxes, but I think it was also the placement of where I was. I'm not used to that particular floor because it was actually uneven, and I felt like it was really drifting through. So again, with sumo, I believe patience is the key to sumo, and also wetness is the essence of beauty for any of you Zoolander fans out there. So that's the key, is to really just be patient with off the floor and make sure that your positioning is okay. Again, with the floor being uneven where I was, it was actually dropped down a little bit on the left side, so my left side of the bar was always going forward and was always kind of drifting forward, and that kind of caught me off guard. But luckily for me, I've been doing a lot of floor pauses sumos, pretty much where I'm not resetting all the way, so I can really maintain that tightness. And usually what happens if I lose that tightness or anything like that, I will fail the rep. So I feel like this time under tension and sumo stuff is really transferring through. I believe week 9, I think, is when I start doing all those little singles, and those singles will tend to help me kind of get more specific to maxing out, because again, it is where I'm completely resetting. I'm not using that stretch reflex to help me out, because as you notice in my reps, that second rep is always quicker than the first, and that's to be expected, and that's okay. It's not like I'm basing off my max off of a estimated max. All my maxes are based off of what I really can do and what my true maxes are, so nothing out of the blue. And other than that, I think we'll call it a day. Oh, I'm sure you want to see the rest of my other lunch, or boom, Hawaiian Punch, because I am a 12-year-old kid. And again, some Krispy Kreme, or some Rice Krispies, Fritos, because that was all that's left. I feel like if you ever buy those packs, which, you know, my son has all the chips, but these are always the last one to get eaten, because you gotta eat them in order and the ones that you like, but those always suck. So gotta finish them up. And drugs, of course, because, you know, fish oil and multivitamin to make your pee bright yellow. Anyways, that's it. Train hard, train smart. Give this video a like, bruh.